Heather McDonald has got the juiciest scoop. When you're on the road, when you're on the go, Juicy Scoop is the show to know. She talks Hollywood tales, her real life Mr. Segment serial data and serial sister. You'll be addicted and addicted fast to the #1 tabloid real life podcast. Listen in, listen up. Woo woo. Heather McDonald, Juicy Scoop.
Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. I have old comedian friends who are married, in love, parents, podcasters, actors, writers, stand-up comedians. Natasha, Moshe,
Emmy winner,
which I want to talk about.
Old friends who are comedians, not old comedians who are friends.
best-selling
Exactly.
author,
Right?
Moshe.
Supportive wife,
It's
obviously.
very supportive wife.
Do you know I said something on a very important newscast of TMZ where I was an expert talking about Taylor and Travis. And everyone said, you know, how does this work? Blah, blah. And I said, I don't think enough people recognize that there are women, much like myself, and most likely you. We always get accused of emasculating our men. What about the women that go out of their way to emasculate their men and give them credit and give them props?
You're saying that's a good thing to do?
I say, why not? But I'm saying nobody recognizes it. No one ever says when there's a power couple and they are thriving, no one ever goes, you know what? Props to the woman. You know, she's super powerful too, but she gives credit where credit's. They only want to focus media on if the both people are powerful and then somehow the woman maybe becomes more powerful and they're like, well, they broke up because she emasculated him. What?
You emasculate me so much.
I emasculate you?
A lot. Actually, she'll sometimes at night, she'll insert some masculine into me. She puts on
Pegging?
she has a special belt. We don't call it pegging in our family, but
In our family.
But just adding a bit more manhood to me.
that.
That's
I love
really
that.
I think that's a really sweet move.
I love that. And I had a Guy Branum on yesterday.
Speaking
and
of
I saw
pegging.
that he was
love
on your
him.
show and you had a clip of if you were to divorce, who would he choose?
Yeah.
And he obviously said Natasha.
Yes.
It was painful. That was painful.
I mean,
It was actually, Moshe was like kind of shattered by it.
It's a little bit interesting. Obviously, as a woman, I always choose the woman in the heterosexual breakup. I've had the difficulty of deciding when it's to men, but I always go with the one that I knew first and knew longest. I think that's appropriate. Wish the other one well. Won't avoid him at a party, you know, but won't stop following him, but not going to go get dinner with him alone. You know, like I think it's a classy thing to figure out before anyone has any trouble who you'd like to choose if it was to happen.
You have a chart, you're saying, of all the couples,
Yeah.
which direction you go in.
And many
That makes
people are
sense.
still very happy, may never break up, but I know where we're going to go. And and then the ones where Peter and I together, we have already predetermined who stays, who we get in the divorce.
If you got
and it's always the woman.
what if you and Peter have a couple friend that break up and you choose one and he chooses the other? How do you negotiate that?
It's never happened.
Didn't you do that? 'Cause
He's always gone with my side with the woman.
But that's you emasculating him. See?
Oh.
Yep.
Moshe's friend got a divorce and you hung out with both of them. You would have dinner with both of them.
Who are we talking about?
Annie.
Oh.
Well, we had a couple that got divorced, but the man was his original friend before I married him. So I liked the wife, but the wife had some issues. So once they got divorced and he got a new young hot wife, I embraced the young hot wife. And we would go out and I'd say, do you think that people are seeing two old men with two young gold diggers? Or do they think that the ant came along?
And you're like, there's only one right answer. It's the two young women answer.
Because I also don't want to be that woman that's mean to the second wife.
But what, is there too young?
But like basically your husband's the only one who hasn't like traded up.
Yeah, he's sticking it. He knows he has it good. No, there's not that much divorce in our groups. There's not that much, but there's certainly some. I mean, we've been married 23 years. You get to a certain point, there's going to be like at least a third that got divorced. And, you know, that's what it is. You guys are what, about 10 years, 8 years?
Yeah, we're close.
What are you at?
It's I think we're 9 years. 9 years. We met. We met on the show we all used to do
Chelsea.
together. Yeah.
Well,
Wait, we met on
I felt like
Chelsea
when you're
lately.
like
Well, we sort of
the
connected.
show we all were like. I felt like you were like, oh, are we allowed to speak of it? Yes, I reference it all the time. It's a huge part of my life.
Wait,
But
I had a question.
But wait, I want to say, what's kind of interesting is it was such a huge chunk of my life, Chelsea,
Yeah.
lately, because I wrote on it. You guys
Yeah, I
were just
remember.
guests
But you were
and
on
stuff.
the panel as well.
No, I was on the panel and on it and on After Lately, but I was there from like day one and like figuring it
I
out,
didn't
who
know
we
that.
wanted on the shows and all that stuff. So for so long, that was a huge chunk of my life. And now I realize that the post time that actually Juicy Scoop is a longer running show than Chelsea lately, because
Whoa.
I'm on 8.5 years of doing this and Chelsea was 7.5. And it's kind of the way my life would too. There was like a whole world of pre-Peter
Mm-hmm.
and then post-Peter. And then there comes a time in women's lives that we get to a certain age where you realize that you have actually spent more time married. I'm not there yet, but I will be in like 7 years. More time married than not.
Wait, more time of your life married
Yes,
than
once
not?
I get to,
Oh,
I got
wow.
married at 29. So once I get to 30 years of marriage, which I'm at 23 years of marriage, once I get to 30 years of marriage, I can say I've spent more time married than not.
Natasha, you'll be able to say that, I think, probably right before you take your last breath. This is it. I've crossed over the Rubicon.
Do you feel like you guys grew together?
Um,
Like you're basically saying more time as an entity together. It's almost like less, it's like you're less of an individual almost.
yeah, a little bit. I mean, I feel very lucky with my career, and I have 3 kids. But I mean, with my career, my books, and everything, I'm very lucky to have like such a separate life. I never took his last name except when I was pregnant, and it's on
Wait.
my license because I thought if I ever was in the hospital or my child was sick, I don't want to not have his name on my child, which is my child's name.
You took his name for 9 months?
No, I mean I didn't get it until
She's
then.
saying legally.
Legally,
see.
I didn't even do it. And then I never took it professionally because I had a little bit of something going on before I married him. And I wasn't going to, like, you're still Leggero.
Yeah.
But are you guys,
We're
But you're-
modern people.
but does your child have?
She has his name and
To her
maybe
great-
mine, but
To her great chagrin. I never asked for that, by the way. I never said give her my name. Natasha ceded the name and now resents me for it.
No.
You want to hyphen it, right?
Well, I think it would be nice. Well, the same thing as you.
Well, I'm like, my boys were Drake and Brandon McDonald versus Tobias. Who knows where they could be today?
Yeah. They could be at 8.5 years of Juicy Scoop Jr.
Listen, I just want to give her options,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
also want to have like legal,
Well-
like in the case of something going wrong, you want to like be able to say that someone has the same name as you.
Well, it's my memory because I worked with Tracy Ellis Ross on my first show, which was a show called Lyricist Lounge. It's my memory, so I'm not 100% sure. But she was born and her original name was her father's name. Diana Ross was married to, I forgot, but it wasn't. And then when she started to pursue her career, then she took Ross. Very
Smart.
smart. Why
Yeah.
not? So
We figure if our
my
child...
kids have that choice. You can always switch it, right?
Yeah, we figure if our child wants to be like an intellectual or a journalist,
Yes.
she'll go Kasher.
Yeah.
If she wants to be an influencer or an actress, we're thinking probably Leggero.
Yeah.
That just seems a little sexier than Kasher.
What if it's OnlyFans? What's the name on OnlyFans?
OnlyFans, then I think she drops the last name altogether and just becomes a one-namer. Right?
Yeah,
But
totally.
we're doing OnlyFans Junior. It's like a feeder program, and
Okay.
they don't upload anything. It's totally kosher.
Oh, I love
but
it.
it just sort of trains them, and it's a kind of a beautiful thing,
How
right?
to film with themselves and correspond. One time we were talking about it, so I was like, with OnlyFans, whatever. And someone's like, what would it bother you more? Because I have a stepdaughter too that I raised. That if your stepdaughter was on it, would that bother you? I'm like, I think it would bother me more if my sons were actively paying someone as like they were a customer and they were like under the guise that this woman really cares about them. I mean, it's one thing to go look or whatever, but the ones that pay the real money to correspond like a fake girlfriend, that makes me sad, kind of.
Would you consider it cheating if Peter was subscribed to someone's OnlyFans?
Oh my God, there's no way. Yes, that is not okay.
Really?
That is not okay.
Wait, Moshe, are you?
No, I'm not paying. Well, I don't understand the logic of paying. I just don't get it. Like, why? I don't.
Because it's not free to have someone interact with
No,
you.
that's right. The
The
interaction.
interacting is where I heard you make the real money, which is my thing is, if you're really like a big person on OnlyFans, why couldn't you just hire like a couple assistants,
How about
even
an
gay
AI?
guys? That's just like writing back and sending like stock photos of you, like, you know?
Oh my God, we
Like,
should
why would Denise Richards have to be doing that every second?
Yeah,
you
but
know?
then what is she doing?
Wait, Denise
Well-
Richards is not on OnlyFans.
Yes, she is.
She is?
Yeah, she's been on for a year, and so is Sammy, her daughter, with Charlie Sheen.
That's beautiful. Now, that's sweet.
And I love that you don't know that. That
Did-
shows
I didn't
how
know
smart
that
you are.
either.
Is it
shows-
adult content?
That shows that you guys are really at a different level.
Thank
Of
you.
enjoying life.
Yes.
Wait, is
Sorry.
it adult content? Or it's just Denise Richards using the OnlyFans platform to interact
No,
with fans?
some of it is adult. I don't know how far into
Interesting.
adult, but definitely like super sexy. You can see her take a shower. I don't know.
But do they interact with people? Like if I want to interact with Denise Richards right now, I can on OnlyFans?
I don't know 100%, but I just know that's where the people make the real money, because it's like each time you get a text, it's like you have to pay another $20. And then there's people that just subscribe for $7 and you get a variety of photos throughout the month.
I just thought of the funniest thing, like
What?
a mom's trying to like do her chores in the day, but then she's got a text and then she's got to like go take a steamy shower on OnlyFans and then like run back out and
She
make
puts
dinner.
on Peppa Pig.
Well, there was a mom that put, haven't you seen like ads? I mean, I've been at the beach where I've seen someone pay for a plane go by with join Jasmine's OnlyFans, and I've seen it on cars and stuff.
Yeah.
So this woman was going to pick up her kids at like a Christian private school, and she had the big OnlyFans thing on, and this Christian school said, you no longer can pick up your kid in the line. And then she tried to, I don't know if she was suing or what, but the husband was pissed. Everyone was pissed. And they're like, now our child has to cross the street. If they get hit, it's on you or whatever. And I'm like, and also because she's like probably gotten so many dads from waiting in line that are like, who the fuck is that? Like, I always think it must be kind of hotter if you can like whack off to someone that you like kind of know but don't, than just like some chick that
that's
you've
true.
never met before.
You think she's propositioning guys in the line to
No,
pick up
she's
her
not
kindergartner?
propositioning, but she
She's-
knows that they're seeing the sticker. And then they don't really know her, and that's kind of hot.
I
Because
gotta
then
say
they can
it.
have a fantasy about the mom at the PTA meeting, and they know what underwear she was wearing that morning or when she took a shower between loading the dishwasher.
100% of the dads looked it up. If you hear,
Yeah.
did you hear that Diane from
Yeah.
Room 4 is on OnlyFans? 100% of them are looking it up.
Yeah.
At a Christian school, 100%.
With you, Moshe?
1,000%.
All right, let's get into the finale of Traitors. It was really, really juicy. So we start out the episode. It's Sheree gets murdered. Kate decides to get rid of Sheba Sheree because she's in the Bravo world and she thinks that's going to take the heat off of her. Now we've got Sandra, CT, Trishelle, MJ, and Kate. And they go and do a challenge where they're in these wetsuits and they're running around. And thank God CT is there because he's the only one that can like collect more money for the pot. When they come back and they're driving in the car is when CT just basically says right to Kate, are you a traitor? I think you're a traitor. She's like, that's rude. And they start talking because Sandra, Trishelle, and CT have this like kind of alliance going, and they definitely think it's Kate. Kate's really smart at this point in planting seeds of doubt, both in CT and Sandra's brain, that they really aren't as loyal together. So when they get to the round table and they're all wearing great outfits, in fact, Sandra goes, Kate's outfit even screams traitor. It turns out that, yes, Sandra votes for Kate as a traitor. MJ does not believe Kate's a traitor. She thinks it's Sandra. And CT and Trishelle also turn on Sandra. She gets kicked out and reveals, I'm in fact a faithful. So now the four of them, Kate, MJ, CT, and Trishelle, come down to the fire. And if there's a traitor among them, then the traitor will take all the money, which of course is Kate. So Kate's acting like a faithful, like, oh my God, it's the four of us. The four of us are going to be able to split this money. They're like, no, we want to vote once more. And they do vote Kate out. So now MJ's like, great, the three of us, we made it. We're going to split this 200,010 pot. And then he goes, well, unless you want to vote another person out. And MJ's like, no. And they say, yes, we do want to vote. And it's so crazy. And this is where I'm like, wait a minute, I really think they played the game. They actually start to like turn on each other to make it appear like they're doubting each other, Trishelle and CT. But in the end, they both kick out MJ. And she is like so pissed. And so then they reveal to each other that they're both faithfuls, and they jump, and you're like, are these people going to have sex or what's going on? And then they have a big reunion, and MJ is just very pissed. She's very hurt. She blocked them on social media. And she's like, no, why would I let you be part of my life? You completely screwed me out of money. I thought the three of us were going to make it. I think they, always had a plan, but it was very juicy. Phaedra comes back, and it was great to see all the other people and kind of see how people felt when they got kicked off or whatnot. Anyway, it was so juicy. It was so great to see some of my favorites in this different competition, meet new people. It's such a good show. I cannot wait to go back and watch season 1 now. So you won an Emmy for what?
I won an Emmy for a sort of roundtable discussion that LeBron James's company does. They do a series of them called "Standing Up: A Recipe for Change," and
the woman from Moza cooks for them.
Yeah, well,
and it's like a dinner party.
Yeah, it's basically a dinner party where there's like sort of celebrities and thinkers from a group. They did a Black women lead. They did an Stop Asian Hate, and this one was Recipe for Change: Standing Up Against Anti-Semitism. And so it was Nancy Silverton from Moza and Skylar Astin.
Wait, so where was this? Where did you people watch this?
It was on YouTube. It was a YouTube original.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so great.
And there was 3 of them. Alana Glazer hosted one. Adina Menzel hosted the third one. And each one was like a chef cooking for a group of Jews talking about standing up against anti-Semitism. And we got nominated for an Emmy. And it was really exciting.
And you won.
And I won. But we got there. Do you remember this? Natasha came, very supportive wife. Speaking of emasculating me. We get to the red carpet. Like, okay, look, I'm used to Natasha being the darling of the red carpets that we go to. I mean, I don't have jealousy in that way.
Well, the one thing also about Natasha, which I love, and we've done stand-up for years, many, many years, and you have specials and everything, but you, from the very beginning, would wear and have always worn very, very fashionable clothes. And you have a little tiny body, and it looks so good when you wear like the 1950s dress and the white gloves and your heels and your cute legs. So we have that going on.
She looks great. Listen, like I said, it's not a jealousy thing 99.99% of the
Heather.
time.
Okay.
I'm thrilled for the people to be like, Natasha.
Yeah.
But we get there, I'm the one that's nominated.
Right.
And they're like, excuse me, Jew, step to the side.
One
Natasha.
alone.
And I'm going, they got some pictures of us as a couple, and then they want some singles of Natasha, and I say to my handler, I go, I'm the one that was nominated. They might want some singles of me too. And he's like, oh yeah, sure, sorry. And they bring me back, and the photographer is like, we're good. No, we got it. Move along. So
I spoke to them, and I made sure you got your picture.
Yeah,
Who cares?
So then you won it, and then you guys took this fun one where she's pretending to steal it from you.
Well, then I go back.
Hoping this was pretending.
Well,
it's communal property.
It belongs to the two of us.
Yeah.
But the best part was we sit down, and we're not seated at the table that the project is. The project is my project is one table over.
Yeah.
We are seated at the table next to it. We're sitting next to like the VFX guy from like Fast and Furious. Like it just doesn't make sense. But there's 2 empty seats.
Yeah.
At the table that we want to sit at. So we go over and we sit down, and this guy gets up. This guy walks up and he's like, These are. He's like a 60-year-old guy from some show. He's like, these are my seats. And we're like, oh, we can go. We're happy to go move to the table. This is our project. We thought there's an empty seat there. And he starts like yelling. He's like, oh, thanks a lot for telling me where I can sit. That's real fucking nice of you.
Jeez.
And goes and sits down. And so the whole time we're like, this asshole.
And you're like, do you know that my project is for anti-Semitism?
And this is feeling vaguely
it's
anti-Semitic.
Also 10:30 a.m. and everyone's like already drunk.
Yeah. Because this was the other, like the special
daytime
Emmys.
Yeah.
The daytime Emmys. Okay.
So we the whole time he's like the joke. We're like, oh, he should be the host. Like our table's just laughing at him. And then when they call our name, I'm thrilled to win an Emmy, but I would say 70% of my happiness was that this motherfucker got to see that I win the Emmy.
Well,
like this old grump.
He won one right after you.
Well, that's the punchline. Yeah. So then I go back to the red carpet. And finally, I get my single. I go, look, I got an Emmy. Maybe you want to picture me. And I'm overjoyed until I see they've called the next Emmy category. And guess who's coming down the red carpet? It's my nemesis, this old guy who's also got an Emmy.
Crotchety Crotch. So did Crotchety Crotch win for producing or something too?
I think so. Yeah.
I didn't realize that was the end of the story, honey. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about it from a different angle.
That's okay. You guys, please, I think you can get through this moment. Okay, listen.
This was a moment we can't get through.
So Natasha, I mean, my God. So Natasha's at the Improv. And I want to know when you decided to do this because you're wearing a cute overalls with a white shirt and a little jacket.
I'm basically wearing what I was wearing here.
Yeah, overalls, like a T-shirt.
And no bra. And so I was like,
Oh, you don't go out with a bra normally.
Not if I'm wearing overalls.
Okay, good.
So then I was following Bert and I was like.
Bert Kreischer, who is notorious and famous for doing stand-up with his shirt off.
Yes.
It's really what's kind of made him. I mean, he's a very good stand-up, but it's what he's most recognizable for.
So I followed him and then I was like, I had to follow him on the Late Show and I was like, I'm just going to take my shirt off too. And so I asked the DJ to play the same song when I got up. And then I was like, I'm just going to.
So you decided in that moment.
I don't know what was going on.
It wasn't like you're planning before. Nothing was planned before.
No, it was like in the moment, but then I looked and I saw how easy it would be. Like with my overalls and and I knew I had a jacket. It was actually like a version of this outfit.
And have you always been know that you have a good tittage situation?
They're small, but they haven't really,
dropped.
No, and they have like really small nipples, and it just. I don't know. What do you think, Moshe?
I think your tits are some of the
small nipples.
To be honest,
but,
some of the smallest nipples in the industry.
In the industry,
yeah, and that's what I love about it.
I knew that I probably wouldn't have done. I mean.
And when you did it, did you think it would get so much news coverage?
I didn't really know what would happen. But when I got out there was just like a sea of phones. That's like I was not exactly preparing for that.
Okay.
And and so then.
And then you put your furry jacket back on.
I put my furry jacket on, but I did
your set.
Flash them, and I didn't do much time. It was a little hard. And you know what? I really thought people were going to start heckling me on the road, and that didn't happen even once.
She would text me every time she did a road date, like for like a month. She'd go, "What do I do if somebody screams, show me your tits?" And what did I say? I said, "Oh, you got to pay for the meet and greet, honey."
Oh, I love that.
That would have been a good answer.
That's a good joke. So, did your sales go up though afterwards? For your gigs that were already planned
I'm
in
not
the weeks
gonna lie.
after.
My shows have been pretty sold out.
You think it's connected to the tits?
I thought it was because of the roasts on TikTok, but
I think it's just, I think a little bit of news like that reminds people of who you are. And you are a great stand-up and you do have great clips from your specials and from your roast. So clever and great. So I think it might have just made someone be like, oh, wait, that chick's coming. I saw her thing coming. I'm going to look. And then they bought the ticket.
Yeah, they're like Tiny Nips is coming to town.
Yeah, I don't think it was like the only reason. I'm sure you looked out and your audience looked like it always looked, a variety of people, whatever, not just like a bunch of like truckers that were like, you know what, we're going to swing by and hope that after an hour and a half of comedy, we'd see a tiny nip. I don't think that was the case.
But the Improv was like, you can't post that because we can get our liquor license taken away. And I was like, well, why does Bert get to do that? And she was like, they were just like, well, I don't know, but women can't get naked on stage. And so then it was like kind of annoying. So then I wanted to when it got on TMZ, I was like, I'm just going to post it.
Well, you remember when Tig, who had recovered from cancer, she took off her top in her own special.
She said me, Tig, and Bert should all go on tour together.
And then, but then you have to be the headliner. It's got to go like.
No, I'm not following Bert. He can headline.
Well, I had my one and only viral moment on stage.
Yours is not
Well,
funny though.
it did absolutely nothing for my career.
Oh, it didn't bump your sales up at all?
At all.
Oh, man.
I fainted on stage and
God.
it just, and everybody took it. It's got millions and millions of views from very political people. And, and it angered people that I said I was vaccinated, angered people that I made them happy that I fainted because I deserved it.
You don't think it raises awareness for your show?
No.
Really?
Absolutely not. It was just like this. This is why chicks aren't funny. She deserved
because they always faint. This classic lady comedian goes on stage. She has a medical episode. She faint. This is why I don't like female comics.
And then everybody that talked about it, that were big podcast people, Joe Rogan a couple times. And I'm like, please have me on. Let me tell you like what happened. And I think there's so much more to the story of what I found and like who I saw actually commenting on it. There were people I personally knew commenting on it.
Saying negative things?
Oh, yes.
People you knew from your life?
Yes.
What were they
crazy.
saying?
That I'm, blasphemous because I said I'd have never gotten COVID. Clearly, Jesus loves me the most. Joking, obviously. And I talk about how I'm Catholic and I saw, so it's like people know I believe in God but I talk about him like a friend, and they don't like that. You're not supposed to joke like Jesus knows you, whatever. So those were the things. Yeah, it's like crazy. And I'm like, I have all this stuff. If you're really interested, like, let me tell you what happened. And not one person that has ever reported on it has ever reached out to me and been like, hey, I'm covering this. And I just want to know, like, are you doing okay or whatever? And then
So
there was a
there's
whole
no
thing
Heather
that said I was dead.
Oh, and you're still dead? And this is like an AI clone or something?
No, just no one cared to like look me up to see if I was still alive. There'd be 20, 50 things down. They'd be like, she's still alive. And then it would be like, and then I was like, God, I'm really not famous.
Heather, you
I'm really not famous.
That's why your ticket sales didn't go up. They all thought you were dead. They don't even know you're available.
Heather, you cannot read these message boards.
I know.
Please
Why are
don't
you
do
reading
Well, I
this.
stopped doing it, but in the beginning I did.
Yeah, it's
I
hard
had
to
stopped
resist.
since I went cold turkey on reading awful things about myself December 23rd of this year.
Congratulations.
And I'm treating it like an alcohol thing every day that I go past.
So how do you avoid it if you go on Instagram?
Oh, Instagram's not that bad. I've blocked most awful people.
You're not You're not
I'm
going
not going
actively
to the
search.
active hate groups that are dedicated to hating on me. I used to go.
Whoa.
My family used to go. We used to read it.
Your family would go.
Yes, I was afraid they're going to indoctrinate my sons to turn on me. They hate me so much.
So you had your sons know about it?
They found out about it on their own.
And then how did you talk to them about that?
They started to realize how insane they were and how it wasn't true because they would and then a couple times they said mean things about them. And then they're like, but they're men. So they're like, fuck these bitches. But I can't do that. I'm like, what did they say about me?
What are they saying about you though?
Oh, just that, I would imagine if this was your mother, she's an awful person. She's a garbage person.
Because of the Christian thing.
No, anything I do. I'll be at a tennis thing with my niece. Supporting my niece, and it'll be like, imagine if this thing was your aunt. Like, no matter what, it's just horrible, horrible stuff.
And it doesn't
and
bother
it's
you?
every story. It did bother me, and it was sucking up the life out of me. Then one day, I was like, this is the last day I look. And like I said, every day I go, I don't look. And it's amazing. And I'm like,
it's like,
and I'm so bummed that it ever consumed me at all. And now I look back, when you read a great book on a vacation, and then sometimes when you think about that vacation, you go, oh, I remember I was reading that book in Hawaii, whatever. Unfortunately, there were times I was on the road and doing trips that I would get into bed and I would read all this awful stuff about me. And now I'm bummed because I kind of associate that memory, that trip, that whatever, with the fact of what was consuming my thoughts.
Listen, there's plenty of new places to go. I think it's really important to grow as a person, and it's really great that you've taken this part away from your life.
But it is sad that you're like, I can't go to Tahiti. I remember that's where I read I was a dead, blasphemous garbage ghost. No more Tahitian islands for me.
So true. So true. Well, I love it. Like I said, people are copying, wanting to
her
be
nipples
Natasha.
are high up, too. I
this
like that.
girl,
Those
this
are-
girl is named Anita, 2 N's, 2 T's. She's a Brazilian pop star, and she was hanging out with a Real Housewife's estranged husband. They're separated, Mauricio, in Aspen. And that's when I first found out about
That's
her.
in
But now-
Aspen? Now that's a brave outfit for Aspen. Okay, I
No,
didn't ever.
you want them hard though in that outfit.
Right,
you
you
want them poking through the mesh.
She's wearing full naked boobs, and it's just literally a bathing suit cover with a G-string underneath, and her nips and her
Ooh,
bod.
I want to see the butt.
I need to see the butt.
Oh, I have a picture of the butt later. I just didn't put it in here, but the butt's amazing. The butt's
She's
perfect.
Brazilian. What do you expect?
Did you know that it's actually really important to shift your skincare routine with the seasons? That's why I love OneSkin. I have been using it, and I feel like my skin is softer. It feels like it has a glowness to it that it didn't have before. For a limited time, our Juicy Scoopers will get an exclusive 15% off OneSkin products using the code JUICY when you check out at oneskin.co. No matter the season, keep your skin looking and feeling healthy with OneSkin. All you do is cleanse, pat your skin dry, and then you apply twice daily. OneSkin topical, face, eye, body, and shield can all be used with other products and easily fit into your current skincare routine. OneSkin is the world's first skin longevity company. By focusing on the cellular aspects of aging, OneSkin keeps your skin looking and acting younger for longer. Get started today with 15% off using code JUICY at oneskin.co. That's 15% off oneskin.co with code JUICY. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support Juicy Scoop and tell them I sent you. New year, healthier skin. That's OneSkin. Help your skin stay younger and healthier for longer with OneSkin. This just little thing in the Oscars was, I guess Al Pacino got shit for not going through all the nominees before saying Best Picture again. But he is now saying the producers told him not to go through all of them again because they were already featured throughout the show.
Do you know he has a newborn?
Yes, of course I do.
He's an active father, honestly. He is. I have heard he does baby and me classes.
Baby yoga.
Yeah, baby and me class, baby yoga. I mean,
He's when you actually got up there and was like, baby shark, 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 shark. What is that, baby? Wait, do you do a good impression of him?
No, that was as good as I could do. Baby, shark, 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 shark.
Yeah, he's got a newborn. And then Robert De Niro has a newborn. He did say in an article recently that his wife does most of the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I do like that these 80-year-olds are all starting like third and fourth families.
He meant that literally, though. He's like, I physically cannot do any heavy lifting at this point because of the calcium content in my bones.
But I guess you can still, your sperm is still good enough at 80 to make a baby, or do we think maybe she got some?
No, you can impregnate, especially if you're Al Pacino. I mean, that's Tony Montana. All he has in this world is his word and his balls, and he's not breaking them for anybody.
Amazing.
Robert De Niro is aging better though.
When you are this old and this rich, having a child, all it is a new bullet point in your will. I mean, that's the only. It's not gonna. It won't remember you for sure. You'll die before it can form memories. It's just writing a new person in your will. Little Michael Jr.
Well, speaking of being married people and stuff, when our parents were like married and they'd have a will, both my parents are deceased, but my dad died shortly before my mom. But it was everything goes to her, and then when she's passed, then it's split among the kids. But now I keep telling Peter, I'm like, I think we need to adjust it a little bit, because if you go or I go and then some young hot thing comes into our lives and then they
who becomes who?
You get mesmerized by them.
Yeah. And then who's to say that then they don't change my will and screw out the kids? So it's like, I want to make sure that no matter what happens, yes, of course, my husband will have the money, but I want to make sure that my kids are protected in case he remarries, gets Alzheimer's, has some hussy, has some dirty Jane come in his life.
Well, then why don't you just split it between all of them?
Immediately, you're saying. But then he needs the money.
But it is his money, and my kids are young, and I don't if I died tomorrow, I want him to still be the one that has it all. My kids are young. I don't want them to suddenly have a big chunk of money at 18 and 21. I don't think that would behoove them, and he's good with money. But I'm saying, Like, that's why people are now, and even, and I remember one time this other couple, the man said it. He goes, no, I have a whole thing where my kids, even though the kids were all the others together, protected, because if I'm gone and my wife marries somebody and the other thing is like, then you have more kids. Then if you have more kids, then how do you know that your kids are now not splitting
That's interesting.
the money that you left with
Dirty
this
Jane's
new
kids?
Yeah.
That's also funny that the way you frame it is that they'll come along, you'll get Alzheimer's, and they will change the will. But you're leaving out the part where you're totally of sound mind and body, but you have this young hard body come into your life. God forbid something happens to Peter, but you've got this 26-year-old little like pool boy.
Yeah.
And you get so sprung on that young dick that you change the will. You're like, everything goes to him. I love this boy so much. It's like you got to do a prenup for yourself.
It happens with women too when they get a hot young thing, or they go a completely different type. Like they were married to like a corporate guy, whatever, and then you see them divorced and it's like tattooed, fresh out of prison, but like prison dick hot. And you're like, I feel like she's going to get sucked in, and she's so happy to have a guy super into her.
That's the opposite of her ex.
Yeah, but also being like really into her and being a gentleman, being a delight, but just like looking this like bad boy type. And she's like 50, but sexy too and everything. And like, yeah.
You think someone like that could like convince you to sign over? I mean, in what world are you going to do that?
Not sign over, but then convince you like, no, this is a great business idea. Wait, it'd be a really great home for us to buy. How, and now all of a sudden I'm riding motorcycles. And the 25-year-old kid is like, when did mom, who didn't even let us like ride a bike without a helmet or a scooter, now mom's like riding Harleys with her new boyfriend? What the hell is going on?
What kind of man do you think you'd marry if I died? Another Jew?
I think I would be in more of like a, you know how they like older rich women, they marry like a gay man?
You'd marry somebody gayer than me?
Like Barry
That's
Diller,
crazy.
like a billionaire gay man. That sounds good.
Interesting. Why would he marry you?
Why would he marry you? Yeah, why would
He's
a
like the last
billionaire have to fake
like
being
Diane,
straight?
Isn't Diane von
like
Furstenberg and Barry Diller? Like it's like you
but
marry
that was
your
in the
best
30s.
friend.
Like this is the last gay man in the closet in America. He's like, I just
She's
can't
trying to
admit
snag.
it.
Yeah, she's trying to snag. It's never going to happen.
It's a billionaire
a new
who
era,
still
honey.
has investors who like wouldn't agree that he was gay, so we'll get married, but then it's more of just like a friendship.
I could honestly say,
And I don't ask him too many questions about his work.
right. I like it.
Kind of a
I
maestro.
could honestly say that if something was to happen, I have no desire to get married again unless this person swoops in and will completely financially elevate my life.
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm talking
I'm living on a yacht.
I'm talking jets and yachts and everything like that. Otherwise, no, you can be my boyfriend, but like, no.
Look at Jackie O.
Oh, yeah, she
married up.
Yeah, she stole,
married up from the president. She did.
And the story is all about that, is that like they had like sex once, she let him have a mistress, and she just went shopping for cashmere sweaters in every color and had all that money for her kids and was protected, and he loved having her as his wife.
As long as he didn't act like an asshole. Which he probably did. Have you ever seen him? And then I think he dumped Maria Callas for Jackie O.
Yeah, because it was such a status symbol.
They would like date each other's boyfriends. It does seem like very traumatic.
It was very much, if you watch The Crown, kind of what the narrative is of why, what was his name, Muhammad and his dad were trying to get Diana to marry him, to have that status, to get them to a level of like status where, my God, my son's married to the princess who's so beloved. But I remember my mom, even as a young girl, like I didn't know any of this stuff, and my mom was like, oh my God, she went from JFK, to my mom was, hot, gorgeous, and everybody said, to this little thing, this little old thing. And I was like, oh, like to me, I didn't even think it. I was like, oh, yeah, they're in, like as a young girl, I was like, oh, they're in love. Like she's not a young woman, whatever. I mean, she's young, but, he looked old and short to her. But to my mom, who was like that age and living that life, she was like kind of disappointed that she married someone that was like not her age and not hot. But of course, she also told me that JFK was cheating on her all the time.
Your mom needs to get on a teakwood yacht and see what she thinks.
Yeah,
because
right.
That's
It
a
might
nice
Change
life.
the way she looks at aesthetics and lovers. She's like, you know what? This yacht makes you a little bit cuter, actually.
Of course. Okay, Sharon Stone just revealed on a podcast, which is not mine, and I don't know why, because we know each other.
Sharon, come do Heather's podcast.
I don't get it.
And do the Endless Honeymoon podcast while you're at
and
it.
we
Do
could-
both of our podcasts.
Exactly, and we could. She's a mom of 3.
You're relevant.
Our boys know
We'll
each
help
other.
you.
We spent a moment together, a very important moment at the school together. And
We don't know you at all, Sharon, but we think you should come on our podcast too. We think you'd give great relationship advice.
We actually know you in a way.
Yeah,
we feel you.
yeah. Actually, we did spend time with you in an elevator in the Bowery Hotel once, and we won't say what you were on speakerphone talking about, but we overheard your conversation,
Wait.
and it was
then
exciting.
then she should definitely do yours.
She should come on our podcast.
She was dating Gary Shandling. She must like comedians.
Is that right,
Wasn't she?
Sharon? Baby, come on.
I don't know, but do you imagine if that's like what happens? She comes on, and then they end up together, and you brought this on all yourself.
Oh, you mean she and I?
Yeah.
Oh, now that would be a great. That would,
I
you
would
know what that would
actually.
be.
I would be a little jealous.
To be honest, Heather, that would be quite a juicy scoop.
Or you just become a thruple. Just a
I
thruple.
would you date Sharon Stone with me? She could
That
elevate.
sounds like
hold
a
on.
lot.
Then
She
she
could
could help raise
elevate
her
us.
daughter. She's never had a daughter. She only has sons.
She could elevate us financially. She could get us on a teakwood yacht. She doesn't wear underwear. You don't wear bras. You're the perfect couple.
She does not want to hang out with us, honey. But
I
maybe
think she does.
Okay.
So she mentioned this story in her book.
What's the story?
You've written books. I've written books.
Natasha's
memoir
written a
type
great book.
books.
I wrote a book.
Natasha wrote
Oh,
a great
by
book.
the way,
Greatest cover ever. What
Can
were
I,
you-
can I
yes?
just say I did tons of press for my book, and I had so many people from your podcast. It was like more than anyone else. Like reach out to me, and it was really nice.
Oh well, then
And love the book. I know. So
more
I
than
have-
Gail, CBS.
Because my Juicy Scoopers read and they support and they love when I introduce them to other funny people that they weren't maybe aware of. And your book was great and your cover was great.
if that's the case, my book's called Subculture Vulture, available now. Just became a national bestseller. Kind of exciting.
And this is your second book.
That's my second book. Yeah.
And we were saying when you tell stories about yourself, memoirs and stuff, I always say, when I wrote my book, the first book, not until it was all the way done did then I get to have a call with a lawyer and they're like, you need to change this guy's. I always change their names, but she was like, you need to change a couple different things. What their location, where they lived, what city, what their occupation was. And I'm like, why don't you have that meeting with the writers before they start? Because you'd save them time and everything. And so in her book, she tells this story of saying, I did a movie. She doesn't say what movie. And a director in the movie said, you should have sex with your co-star because you guys are lacking chemistry and make the movie better.
Old Hollywood, baby.
And that came out, her book came out in 2021. And now she went on this podcast and she said who it was. Robert Evans, the director, and it was Sliver with Billy Baldwin, which was kind of like a cheesy movie. Do you remember it? It was after Basic Instinct. So she was already a star and being sexy. And it was her and Billy Baldwin. She was supposed to be like a high-end escort, and they lived in this like fancy, this is what I'm remembering, like sexy condo situation. And he was like a videographer guy, which this is like back when only a few people had a video camera. And they had a very sexual relationship, but it was kind of boring. It wasn't that great. So then she said, I went into his office, Robert Evans, and he's eating like those like malt ball chocolates, and he's got his sunglasses on. He's
the Godfather producer guy? He used to be the head of Universal or whatever.
And he wrote a book, The Kid Stays in the Picture.
Oh, cool.
And he goes, I screwed Ava Gardner. I screwed all these people. And like, I had sex with these people. This is what you need to do with Billy Baldwin. You need to have sex with him.
Huh.
And she's like, I didn't. And what's interesting is she goes, I think everyone thought she was this hyper like sexual girl. And she goes, when did I get in the business of now I have to fuck people when I'm like a really good actress and all this other stuff? But she was kind of said like, I'm not this super sexy, which she always said was not, she was tricked into doing. Do you know that story?
No.
So she had that great white dress on. Oh my God, I just realized it was like this.
It was very similar to what you're wearing.
And
Hold on a second.
I bought such a great.
Oh, wow, Heather. This is great. You're cosplaying.
And I bought such a great dress like that years ago. And I put these dresses in this extra closet. And one day, Peter thought those were the clothes to give away. And I'm so pissed. And it was a Mary-Kate and Ashley dress, but from like their high end. And it was so flattering. I know, but it really was. They had like a high end line, okay? I don't know if it still exists.
You have an Uncle Joey original, I believe, right? Yeah, I remember that.
But it was just like her dress. And I was like, and it was so flattering. It was like thick white, so I could wear it. It wasn't cheesy. It was like a $350 dress. It was good. Anyway, so she's wearing that dress and she said, they said to her,
You're saying you had the same dress?
very similar.
Okay.
And I didn't even think about it when I bought it. And then I realized, oh, this is like the basic Instagram. But her story that I've read in interviews that I recall is that she did have underwear on. And then she was supposed to do the cross leg thing. And they're like the lights reflecting on your underwear and take it off, but we won't see anything.
Bullshit.
That is what she claims.
I don't believe that story for a second. You know, remember the Beatles, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds?
Yeah.
And it's all like psychedelic imagery. Picture yourself on a tangerine pickle or whatever. Yeah. And then they always ask the Beatles their whole career, so that was about acid, huh? And they go, no, it was just a weird coincidence that it was Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. This is what this story reminds me of. She's like, no, I never... They said that the sun was reflecting off of my underwear. There's no way. There's no way. And she uncrossed her leg. I don't believe it.
Okay, you don't have to believe it.
She did it on purpose.
It's interesting because would she want to give it back? Because she probably wouldn't have become like, she just came out saying that she can only fly private because everybody knows her and she's like harassed. She said they know about her in every country because she flashed her, you know what I mean? So it's like, is it worth it? It's almost like a pact with the devil.
Yeah.
Robert Evans. Did she sleep with him? Did she say? She didn't.
No, she did not. And but I took an acting class and I had a scene partner. We were doing same time next year. Okay. And we talked to the phone and he kind of like liked me, but I was just like, we're like friends, whatever. And he told me that the acting team, we were having trouble doing, or he thought we were having trouble doing the scene the way it should be done. And he told me that the acting teacher took him aside and was like, have you guys fucked?
Oh my God.
And you should.
What are all these Hollywood dinosaurs doing?
And when
they're trying to hook up their friends.
And then when he told me that, I'm like, I can't believe I'm paying this guy whatever, how many hundreds of dollars a month. So then that was the last acting class I took, like scene study. I was like, that's it. And so thank God I could make a career not being a good actress.
You know what, though, Heather? This is, I imagine you're bringing this up because this is how Natasha and I first became romantically involved.
Tell me.
You pulled us aside. You remember?
Oh, yeah.
You were a producer, writer on the show. And you said that on the
Chelsea
panel,
lately.
you said on the panel that Natasha and I lacked chemistry. And you asked me, have you fucked Natasha yet? And I said, no. And then,
I said, do it if you want to come back and make $300.
That's right. Yeah. Exactly. And that was the beginning of our life together. So I want to thank you for that.
Did you actually meet doing an episode together?
No, but we met sort of in the
world because we'd have parties and stuff. Yeah,
in the kind of halls of comedy. But we started dating. I remember while we were both doing the show, and on the final episode of the show, I was at Burning Man, and Natasha brought one of my headshots to say goodbye. And so if you look at the
did you have a crush on him then?
I think we were dating, right?
We were dating.
Oh, you were dating.
We
so
were
when?
courting.
But then, how did the first date happen then?
I think we just kind of texted each other.
But who texted whom first?
Well, she had a party. She was single for the first time since I'd known her. And she had a party and invited me over. And I was excited because she was kind of my comedy dream girl, other than you.
But I was married with kids. So
yeah, that was my barrier.
Okay,
was Peter and your children.
Yeah.
And so I went over there and I was like, oh, exciting. Maybe she likes me. And then she was flirting, I remember, with an intern from a TBS show. Or I thought
that sounds
I was
so
not
horrible.
flirting
I thought
with
she was.
anyone.
First of all,
At least I
does
thought she
TBS
was.
still exist?
I don't think it
Definitely
does.
was not flirting.
Well, I thought she was. But I went home that night and I had two dreams, one about Whoopi Goldberg and one about her.
Oh, interesting.
And just randomly, well, I usually dream about Whoopi. And and I texted Natasha the next day, I had a dream about you and Whoopi Goldberg last night. I put them together to diffuse the creep factor. And she texted back, come over tonight and let's smoke some cigarettes. This was back in the cigarette time of life.
I don't want to promote cigarette smoking.
Yeah, neither of us smoke
you guys
anymore.
understand that? No, cigarettes, I predicted this. I do predictions about things. I predicted this like 2 years ago and it's absolutely happening. I was like, cigarettes are going to come back.
Oh.
because the
They
vaping.
stink.
I know, but the vaping, it's going to come back as like a cool, I don't give a fuck thing. And
Or like
also,
the end of the world's happening.
and
I'm
I
gonna
can also
smoke.
afford cigarettes because they're like
Honestly,
$8 a
Wait, but
package.
If the end of the world came now, I would be upset that I had quit smoking so long ago. I'd be like, oh, this is how I die? It's not emphysema? I should have been smoking.
Wait, but why not vape? Because I thought vaping was kind of an improvement. Is it because it's bad for you?
Yeah, I mean, vaping is bad for you, and I almost feel like it's worse for you. And I don't know anything because people are going to come at me. I think it's worse for you because you can do it all the time. You can do it in every restaurant. You can do it everything. At least with a cigarette, you have to, okay, I got to wait. I got to go outside. I have to, leave my home or go on a walk. And so you're not doing it all the time.
You're not doing it all the time.
I think that's important. I think not enough emphasis is put on that. Same with the phone. It's like if you're doing it all the time, it's like you have to get boundaries with yourself in terms of
I think
smoking and imbibing and your phone addictions. Really,
I will say so many people that are working a job, like we're in customer service, whatever, or even like I've seen it with like security guards at schools, they're just on the phone. And I'm like, wait a minute, like the phone has got to be put away while you're the security guard or while you're, working at some place, it should be in your locker, and then every hour on your break, you should check, oh, my mom called me. Like in the olden days, you would have to go check your messages every few hours to see if you had a voicemail or whatever.
But society says that's okay to be looking at your phone while you're doing everything else.
Yeah.
That's where we're at. And
exactly.
And that's what, that's
why Robert Evans never checked his text messages once, and look at what he turned into. He's telling Sharon Stone to fuck her coworker. So it's not like it was good back then.
This was kind of a weird story. So Bradley Cooper was saying that he used to bathe with his dad while growing up. And then he also told a story of how he has daughters 9 and 6. And sometimes he's just taking a poop and they walk in and they talk to him. Now, I don't know
How hard up are you to be in the news that this is in an interview? I poop in front of my 9-year-old.
I don't know if it means he's, like in our bathroom, you walk in, there's a shower. This is where I do my makeup and stuff. And then there's a door that's for the toilet. So from reading the article, it could be that he's in there with the door shut and they're like, Dad, what do you do? Can you pick me up today at 3 instead of 2 or whatever? And he's like, yeah. So it could be that he's taking a dump and they go in and talk to him. I don't know if they're talking to him with his hairy legs and naked body on a toilet.
And prosthetic nose. You think he still has it when he
Also,
goes
it's funny that the New York Post is acting like they have a parenting section. They're
parenting.
like, this is clearly just to make fun of Bradley Cooper.
I'm on board with this. Every 5 years, a story comes out where a dad did something and everybody's like, can you believe it? There was some quarterback that like kissed his son on the lips and they're like,
oh, Tom Brady. Tom Brady, when the kid was 10, he's like, hey, before you go. And he was getting some treatment on it, like physical treatment. And the kid came over and just kissed him on his lips.
And people are like, oh, look at this. What's wrong with this person? It's like, are you not aware of having a child and how close you are to that kid? Like, you're not thinking of the horrifying thoughts that the internet has when they read a story like this. Like, showering of course you shower with your kid. You have to clean them off. And sometimes that's the easiest way to do it.
But they're 9. I think that was the issue.
And they're girls. But he didn't say he showered with his girls. He said the girls came in when he talks to them when he takes a dump, which, like I said, could be the door shut. He said in the interview, I guess, that he used to shower with his dad. Now, I don't think he was showering with his dad at 18.
Well, I also think like cross-gender is a thing.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Like if
it's more disturbing.
Well, no, as soon as the girl is old enough to start to be aware of the differences, maybe you don't shower with her, but she could still shower with her mom.
I shower with my daughter, but I this is true. I started wearing a bathing suit.
I think that's great because it is so much easier, honestly, than doing the bath. Like, okay, so we had the 2 boys and we would do the bath, whatever. And then at a certain point, Peter would just be like, come in the shower and he could like scrub their heads. And it was really easy. And I remember one time on Chelsea Lately, I said that. And now the kids were little when I was at Chelsea Lately, maybe like whatever, 6 and 3 or something. And I said, oh, and they're the ones that made me think like, it was weird. They're like, what do you mean Peter shower? And I never like joking, but I was like, no, like they get in, they go swimming and then they all go in the shower and they like wash their hair and then we're done. I don't have to get on my knees and do a bath after I come back from working all day. But did it stop once they were like 7 and they could take their own shower? Yes, it did.
Well, exactly.
It did.
When Natasha's out of town, Natasha's out of town, what is she can't bathe herself? She's not capable of it. What
but
is she just supposed
young,
to?
You know, but usually I do.
She's supposed to go dirty just for the weekend while she's in Tacoma. I just go, well, the internet might have some thoughts on this, honey. So sorry, you're just gonna be covered in. You're gonna be pig pen until Natasha gets home. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And it is easier in a shower, I'm telling you. It's so much easier to really rinse the hair. And it's cleaner, really.
Bradley Cooper
bath
says
time is fun, but
he says he's always bathed with his dad. So was it happening at 23? Was it happening at 30?
There's no way it was happening at 23. Well, he's in Stella Adler acting school. His dad's like, you're going to be a star someday, kid.
It happened before the Oscars. You know, he did. He's like, Gigi Hadid, I know you're my girlfriend. You're not coming with me to the Oscars, and I need my dad to come over and shower with me.
No, he's like, I'd like to thank my glam team, the people at Gucci, my makeup artist, my stylist, and my dad for getting me ready for the red carpet tonight.
Hilarious. Okay, so this whole thing with Kate Middleton.
I'm not up to date on this.
Let me up to date.
Okay.
About a week and a half ago is when everyone started to discover that she hadn't been around for a long time. We knew that she had some type of abdominal surgery, but things were being canceled. We weren't seeing her. First, people are like, I think she had plastic surgery. But then someone said, I think she had a BBL, which why would the princess get
funny.
that? Then they saw her in a car and they're like, well, she couldn't be in a car this soon after a BBL sitting.
What? The princess of England got a BBL.
This stuff, I mean, we just need to not look at the internet. Can we just do that?
So then another thing was canceled that she was doing. And I just think, and I've said this before, I think she did have a medical thing done and she's probably enjoying the downtime. Maybe she needs more time. Maybe there were some complications and she doesn't want to be out in public.
You think it's a vanity medical thing?
No, I don't think it's a vanity.
Something weird's going on.
They did say she had abdominal surgery. What that means, I don't know.
Maybe it takes 4 months to recover.
Yeah, I don't know. So I definitely don't think it's plastic surgery because she looks great and she's a thin woman. I just don't think that's it.
Not anymore. She's not thin. She got that BBL. She's at WAP. She's at WAP. You know, that Windsor ass princess.
So everyone freaks out and goes, oh my God, they put out this photo of her with the kids and it's clearly a Photoshop fail. I did not see where it was Photoshop, but LA Times pointed it out. So here we go. A Photoshop of Princess Charlotte's hand in the sleeve. It's misaligned.
Oh, I see. It's
Princess
over
Catherine and her zipper are misaligned. And both princesses' hair, both her daughter and her hair's looks artificial. That's how they figured it out. They removed the photo right away.
Meaning that she put an old picture.
No. They photoshopped so that she looks like she's out and about with her kids in a new photo.
Right, but it's an old photo of the princess.
Right, Photoshop
with current pictures of her kids.
Right,
oh
and so God. Then they're like, "This is Photoshop fail." Then they removed it, which really then put Then she went on to say, "Oh, like most moms, I had a little fun with Photoshop and I did a bad job."
But she didn't come out in public. She just tweeted that.
Yes,
Kate Middleton said that she was experimenting with Photoshop.
Yeah.
After the rumor mill starts buzzing, where is she? Where has she been? What she's doing? She's in the castle with her Macintosh, going like, I want to try out Photoshop.
Yes, exactly.
She's in the tower.
There is no universe where she was the one.
I don't know. I just hope she's not with Shelley Miscavige of Scientology. Right. I don't think there's anything like that. Then, of course, people are like, she wasn't wearing her wedding ring. And Guy Branum said he read that they think that the people that did the Photoshop did that on purpose, didn't add a ring, did a little shitty job to be like, screw you, people. We want you to know. We want you to know. And that's something
not involving the ring. That's a big one. Because that seems like an obvious thing to check. So then she came out and said, and she says on her Instagram, I've been experimenting with Photoshop. Now what?
So sorry to concern anyone. So now people are still speculating, well, what is it? When will we see her again out and about walking around in real time?
I feel like these people are so irrelevant that
Who? Kate?
just the royals.
Okay,
the
yeah.
like they're so desperate for.
They're not irrelevant in terms of news.
Well, this
Yeah.
is my point. They're so irrelevant in terms of actual functional
Right.
use in the world that once in a while, my conspiracy theory is that they will concoct a big story like this.
Oh, interesting.
that you
They're
go-
the ones that are putting
it's like,
it out.
It's literal palace intrigue where you go like,
Oh my God,
where's
that
she
is
been?
juicy.
You go away for a while and then let's put a weird photoshopped photo up and then all of a sudden she'll reemerge and everything will be normal and they'll be back. She's fine. So I would not put it past them because
That is a juicy theory.
the juicy
Very
scoop.
interesting.
Can Moshe do an offshoot called Juicy Theory?
Juicy Theory with your kids, the Juicy Scoop Jr. Juicy Theory.
No, but I think that's known knowledge that the House of Windsor like has to create intrigue.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
Between bunches and bunches of people to then sell stories. It's like how they have they were hiring for someone to find news about Taylor Swift a few months ago.
Oh, this is good.
Because this is like how people sell ads and get clicks as if they have Taylor Swift news.
So
there's people like trying to create Taylor
Oh,
Swift
right. So they
content
have
right now.
stories to write.
Right,
Yeah.
So that's why you'll see a
Yes.
story in the news because people want to read stories about Taylor Swift. Or it's all of a sudden like the bracelet that how Taylor decided to wear that particular bracelet to the VMAs. And it's like, how is this a story? It's because having her name in a headline is the only thing that a person will click on.
That's good scoop too. Now, Love is Blind.
Watch the whole thing.
Is the reunion on tonight?
Wait,
or-
Chelsea looks good.
She does look good.
Yeah.
She did it. I like her
Megan
new
Fox
hairdo.
good? No, she was
She
really
does.
pretty.
She
in her own-
actually styled herself like Megan Fox and got a spray tan.
Yeah. So it says, how does Love is Blind Chelsea feel about Trevor? Now, Trevor was her other
Mm-hmm.
I
choice
liked
who
Trevor.
had the, what do you call it? The
They seem better
ducktail?
suited to each
Not
other.
The
ducktail,
mullet.
The mullet.
Yeah.
And
They seem better suited for
they
each
did
other.
not get married. Her and her choice did not get married.
Trevor needs a podcast bad. He's the right guy, like a big, beefy philosopher. That's what the world likes in the podcasting. You know what I mean? He's just a smart lug. You know, he's like a caveman who's read a book.
and wants to learn and would change and like
That's right.
cry
It's
and
so
change.
funny that you say that because I'm going to just skip ahead and then we're going to go back. But I don't know if you know, speaking of Taylor, that they won Podcast of the Year was the two brothers.
I get
The
a
Kelsey
couple
brothers.
of lugs. you
What's
mean.
it called? Yeah. What's their show called? Anyway.
Oh, that's
Yes.
the kind. You think that's the kind of podcast that?
Yeah,
people
I
love
think
now.
Like the viral thing is like either an older billionaire like swearing at his workers, going like, you don't sleep in, you never sleep, you sleep
That
when
a
you're dead.
genre?
Like as a podcast or like as an
Just
actual
like
video?
what clips through the algorithm.
those are
It's like-
videos?
yeah, it's like an old CEO doing
Will you
like
send me those?
business advice, or it's like a muscular man thinking for the first time. You
Yes!
know, he's just like, I thought, what if we were nice to people? And people are like, whoa, that's
Yeah.
what works.
Right, giving the advice of like, yes, you're right. I feel I get a lot of those clips too of just like, the reason that this marriage is having a problem is that do you talk to your wife? Do you ask her how she's
Yes,
feeling?
Yes.
Do you open the door for her?
That's your
Do you-
algorithm.
yeah, like
because mine is like. Don't say that to your child. Don't say good job. Look what happens when you say good
Right.
job. Tell them how hard they worked on it. Like all
And
of these like millennial doctor, kid psychologists telling you what to do.
that's so funny.
And making you feel bad about your parenting.
Yeah,
And mine
no,
is
I
just-
get all kind of different things, but yeah, that's one of the things. But what I went really quick, I was going to say a great way to find out what your spouse is doing or what they're really into. I did it because I took my son's phone away from him one time. And I went on his TikTok and I was like, what am I going to see? Am I
What
going to
was
see
it?
how to make a bomb? What am I going to
Oh
see?
my
No,
God.
I was so pleasantly surprised.
What was it? What was the
Lots
worst thing?
of history stuff, lots of political stuff.
Cute.
And then like teenage funny prank, funny boy stuff.
Mine's just Turkish men making kebabs. I don't know why. It's evangelical Christian preachers and Turkish men going like, this is what we call kafta. And
He's kidding.
no, I'm not kidding.
Why would you get evangelical
I think
preachers?
because the way the algorithm works is when you're scrolling through and somebody says something, you're like, what is this guy saying?
If you
And then you
listen
watch
too long-
for too
yeah.
long. All of a sudden, all I get is like biblical truth, but from a guy that looks like he works at a vape bar. He's just
Well,
like,
I
you
got
gotta,
on TikTok.
God is dope.
I get a lot of coming home videos still. It's still my favorite thing to watch, but I get so bummed when it's the same ones I've already seen.
What's coming home videos?
Like a parent who was in the military surprising their child, or a child surprising their mom.
Sure.
Or whatever. But
you spend a lot of time on TikTok and Instagram because of this show, right?
Yes, and I just really like it. Every time I'm like, put your phone away and try to watch something on TV, I start to get it sucked in a little bit, but I'm trying to do it a little bit less. There's nothing more disturbing than what. Well, because
sounds like you enjoy it.
Topics.
Though.
I do, because I get the topics that I like to see what people are doing and all that kind of stuff. And it is a good source of all that. But anyway, so they won. And
is that surprising?
I just was like, the combo of them winning is they're two brothers. They're likable. But it first started where they had talked about sports, but then they even thanked the Swifties. All these other people started to love that they've. So I feel, as a person who predominantly has women and men who are into gossip and housewives and everything, I need to somehow get the audience of like sports something to then get into it. Like if something happened with Peter and then I was screwing like a Brazilian soccer star that could give me like an Italian, like an
Are you
Italian
talking about how you can win
international
number one?
Brazilian. Yes. So I get a whole nother audience because that's international soccer. And the guy is hot and cute and maybe he had like a sad backstory. Now we're screwing.
Sounds like you
it's
know.
controversial. It's controversial because there's a huge age difference. I can't give him any kids.
You leave him all your money though in the will, right?
If we become number one at the iHeart Music Awards, yes.
Well, I tell you
Podcast
this,
Awards.
if you want the sports fans, you invited the right couple onto your podcast. No,
Really?
seriously, yeah. The Endless Honeymoon podcast is primarily sports-based, right, would you say?
No, Endless Honeymoon podcast is our podcast that we do together.
And it's a lot about football and vaping.
No, it's not. People call in and give their
Kebabs?
deepest, darkest secrets.
Yes.
And then we also give live relationship advice. Oh my God, we have to have Heather on because I
Yes.
feel like you have a lot of children's wisdom.
You do, and you've never invited me. And
Ouch.
a lot of people have thought that was weird.
No,
okay, so wait.
I want
Love
you
is
to do
Blind.
it. Okay.
Would you have ever done anything like this back in our
my-
day before we found our spouses? No.
Would
I mean,
you?
if I was
No,
like
no,
16
because-
or 18.
Anything that where marriage is at the end of it, I would never do because I do believe that's sacred, and I wouldn't want my first engagement or my first wedding to maybe not be what it is. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't. So, but I was on Studs. You're probably too young to know what
I
that
don't
show
remember
was.
Studs.
What is that again?
It was a dating show, but it was just one episode at one night.
with one guy and like
And we
four
went
girls.
on dates, but no one covered us on the dates. We just came back to the studio, talked about the dates. It was 3 girls, 2 guys, and I won. Like I picked the guy and the guy picked me.
Oh,
I
cool.
might have done something like that.
Wait, you did? Or
No, I'm saying I might have.
Yeah.
But I feel lucky because I never had to online date. Like it wasn't even a
No, I didn't.
thing.
I didn't do online dating
Because
either.
it hasn't really been around for more than 10 years.
You never. That's
Oh wait,
not
I did
true.
do
Well,
online.
no, but on the iPhone, like just so easily accessible.
I did an awful mistake thing that I did.
Do you want to tell
When
us?
I was 26 or 7, I decided to take money I made from a real estate, because I was a realtor, commission. And I did 2 things to try to find a husband. One was I joined Sports Club LA, which was $1,100. And it seemed huge because I had a friend that they're like, if you want to,
That's where
meet
they
a
are.
rich, powerful guy that's going to help you in the business and be rich, go there. When that didn't pan out,
What would you do
I
there?
went
Like drink
down
at
the street. It
You're
was
like,
on
I believe
Sepulveda.
marriage
I went
is
down the street.
sacred, but I joined a $1,100 gym to find an industry plant to
Yeah.
share my life with.
Exactly. I wanted to find an industry guy and they never liked me. And then I said, I'm taking it to my husband, and I joined Great Expectations, which was that was like
remember that.
$2,500. And that was a huge dumb mistake.
Was that a dating service?
Yes.
It was
and
like
I
with a
had to do a
person.
video
Uh-huh.
saying what I was into. And then they would go in and it's like a library of videos. And then they'd watch you. And if they were attracted to you, then they would leave a message, and then you'd go physically in there and you get all these messages from people, and then you could check, okay, I have 5 guys and I looked at all 5. Okay, I'll take this one, this one, this one. But it was so overwhelming because I think I was like the youngest and sadly the cutest person that had done it, that I'm like, there's too many people for me to go through these VHS tapes about. Can you just help me? And the girl's like, this guy's a doctor. He's an anesthesiologist and lives in Manhattan Beach. And this one is like pretty cute too. And so then I went out with both of them. And then I didn't like either one of them after a few dates. And then I just dropped it. I never went back.
Well, that's not so bad. And then how did you meet your husband?
A blind date. A mutual friend of mine that was working as the caterer. I dated him when I was 19. He was the caterer of on the first writing show I ever had, which was Keenan Ivory Wayne's talk show. And the first day I went, I was like, Brian. And then we just were like platonic friends and we talk on the phone and laugh. And then he's like, he was single and I was single. He's like, I have the guy for you.
And what does Peter do?
Well, now he's been working with me for like 10 years and manages everything and all that. But when I met him, he was in medical sales. And then he was a mortgage broker for many years and a broker, realtor. He can buy and sell houses too. And then like about a year or two after I started the podcast, then he got involved.
He's in the McDonald industry.
Then he got involved and it did do a lot better with his involvement. So
and
that
what
was
happened with the first guy?
Well, working with your spouse is hard sometimes.
Yeah, we do it.
It can be so great, but it can be challenging too. What were you going to say?
Wait, what happened with why did that guy?
When I was 19?
Yeah.
Oh, because he was 25 and I was 19 and I was in college and we just went to like out a few times in the summer.
And you were like, we're just going to be friends.
Yeah. And he was a dealer, which he had a nice house in Reseda. He owned a house in Reseda.
A dealer of what?
Pot.
Oh, he was a drug dealer.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, got it.
And he's like, have I got the guy for you?
I didn't smoke weed at the time, but I thought it was kind of sexy.
Sure.
He took me to an Elton John concert. He had a BMW. He had a boat. We went to like one of the lakes that are nearby, and I thought that was pretty sexy. And he was 25, so I thought that was kind of cool. And then, yeah.
Drug dealers are notoriously well paid. It's true. It's one of the main perks.
I always wonder about that. Like, if a normal drug dealer didn't get into the ground business of it being legal and didn't like buy an actual like building or get a lease on it, are they pissed?
Oh, yeah.
Like them and pimps are really not necessary anymore.
Well, I mean, as a former pimp, I can say the industry is dried up. I can say that right now. I lent Natasha my old jacket.
Oh, well, you what?
I lent Natasha my old pimp jacket.
Oh, one more thing to say about Love is Blind, though, is that, there was someone on there was like, I'm just not ready to get married. But it's like, these people are too young to be getting married, I think.
Yeah. And the guys are like 25. Yeah.
And then, but they're going into it thinking they're that jaded that they're like, I'm ready to throw in the towel and just like marry anyone.
Whenever I'm watching it, I'm like, all they want is to drink a glass of wine and sit on the couch and watch TV with their spouse. And I'm like, I need to appreciate what I have more.
You're so right.
Because
that
I'm like,
what
that's
they're
all
doing.
they want. Is they just like want. They're like, who's my person? I want my person.
The amount of times
and every day I'm like, good morning, person. Like, oh, why am I not more thrilled about that?
The amount of times they said the phrase "my person" on this show.
Is that like a politically correct thing to not say my husband, my wife, because you want to honor people that like. I thought same sex or trans.
I didn't read it
more
that
like
way.
a depth, like this is my soulmate.
It's like internet spirituality, like you are my person.
Oh, I thought it was going to be like no matter what my person is as far as sexual identity, it's
I
my
think
person.
It's like, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I want to see queer Love is Blind. By the way,
I'm sure
all these shows need to like do branch outs where it's all like a queer Love is Blind.
Like
you haven't seen Love on the Spectrum, Sweden?
I do like
and you haven't
Love
seen
on the
couple
Spectrum.
From Couple to Throuple?
We haven't seen that yet. No, but I am interested in joining as a cast member.
It was crazy, but they had a gay couple and then a queer couple on there. And then of course everybody is trying to take on a third, and it was a little slow, it was a little whatever, but it was sort of fascinating to watch, and I did watch it all the way through. Okay, I want to just give you a little update on the Wendy Williams before we close the show. So I've talked a lot about this show.
I love her,
So now her ex-husband is saying, I have not been paid my alimony payments that was part of our divorce. They were married for 20 years since, and she stopped them before the judge said, I have to have this guardian that's not your family take over your money because your son,
The conservatorship.
the guardianship, they call it guardianship, financial guardianship, not the conservatorship like it to the level of Brittany.
Okay.
But they said, because your son, who's like 22 or whatever, had spent $300,000, and he said she allowed me to do that. Like, and the mom, I watched the show, I was on the show. Wendy did spoil her son. I remember he was going to college, and she was like, I'm fighting with Big Kevin because he wants him to be in a dorm, and someone mine is going to be in some crappy dorm. I'm giving him a beautiful apartment to live in or whatever. So I do think that was probably okay. But now he's like, where's my payments of the last 2 years? And the guardian is saying there's no money left.
They've been divorced, I thought.
They're divorced, but
He got alimony.
He had an alimony payment just like a man and a woman after 20 years. If the woman...
That's right, honey.
Even when the kid's in college?
Hey, get used to
No,
it.
but that's child support. This is not child support. This is just alimony. But my thing is, well, alimony is based on what the person is making. So if you're making $10,000 a month at your job, then they say, okay, your wife's going to get $3,000 a month tax-free every year. So
think about it.
But she's not making any money. So that should have been adjusted anyway. But he's like, I haven't gotten the payments for 2 years. Everyone's like, you're a piece of shit. You're awful, because he had a side chick and now he has a daughter or a child with that woman. But okay, so
he finally broke up with her the morning his daughter was like born with his mistress. He I think he
he's
treated
still with
her
the mistress. I think.
No, I know, but I'm saying he broke up with Wendy finally.
Wendy broke up with him.
Or Wendy broke up with him, but I'm just saying it was
once
he treated
had a
her.
Kid, yeah,
like she said in that documentary, she's like, yeah, I answered the phone, and she was like, you just had a baby with her, huh? And then.
And then she was like, yeah, she was basically said, I put up with it all. I knew you were cheating, whatever. But once there was an actual life that I couldn't deny, and not just too embarrassed, then I had to go. But playing the devil's advocate of a situation, of course, we all feel sorry for her and he's a piece of shit and whatever. But and I'm just saying if this was a different thing, if there was a man who had a talk show and had problems with alcohol for years,
Fair.
and the show ended, and during that time of dealing with someone who was dealing with alcohol, the woman went and found love elsewhere while she was managing this alcoholic husband. And then the show ends, they get divorced, the wife goes on to live her life, and her 20-year marriage entitles her to this much a month. And then now not getting it. Where is she did a top show for 13 years. How did she go through all the money in 2 years? It makes no sense.
No, they're keeping her money from her. I thought that's what it was.
The Guardian is telling his lawyers there is no money for you.
But that doesn't mean she doesn't have money.
No, he's saying they're broke.
They're saying there's nothing in
And
the
if
bank
there's
accounts.
anybody you can trust, it's the legal team of Wendy Williams. For sure, they're telling the truth.
Well, listen, I started watching the movie and then I slowly realized it was a little exploitive, and because it's confusing because all of her relatives are in it and her best friend's interviewed the whole time, but her best friend has been going on talk shows and saying that they misled her and it wasn't what anyone was promised, and it is kind of I
understand
not cool, and so it just makes you a little uncomfortable to watch it.
They said the sun was shimmering off of her underwear and stuff, that she had to take it off. Back to Sharon Stone, you guys.
It's called a callback. But wait, I want to just share this part because I don't feel like this has gotten enough information. This is from the Michigan Chronicle. That's where the article came from. And it says that the New York judge overseeing Wendy Williams' guardianships was previously under investigation over what reporters described as concerning link between her guardianship cases. Several sources detailed a 6-month probe about the judge, Lisa, how do you pronounce his name? Sokoloff, over allegations that she took bribes from guardianship lawyers.
The judge?
The judge. So one of the guardians, the guardian that she appointed to Wendy Williams was a donor of hers.
So what does this imply?
Dirty business.
There's a dirty bit hi, I'm the judge. You know what? Your child and your brother and nobody, they cannot be in charge of it. Someone's taking money from you. I'm going to do a guardianship. And the guardian just happens to be someone that donates to my becoming a judge. And now you're in charge of one of the most well-known queen of media women
Well,
money.
That's exactly what happens in corporate America and U.S. governance. You know, they'll appoint somebody, they'll do like a tax break for a big corporation, and all of a sudden the CEO of that corporation is allowed to do an unlimited donation to that senator's reelection campaign because it's not coming from the individual, it's coming from the corporation. So this is like a mini version of that. This is kind of like the foundation of the way that we do business in this country.
So very, very disturbing. So tell everybody about where they can follow you, your podcast, what dates you have coming up, your book. Go ahead.
Well, so Moshe and I, we do a podcast called the Endless Honeymoon Podcast, and we take relationship advice. We really want to get Heather on.
Well, you can just ask him right here.
She's hard to get. Heather's hard to get. But we're thinking about looking across the table and asking her if she'll do it sometime.
But it is very fun because I have to say I'm able to bring a lot of things to Moshe in the podcast.
We fight a lot.
Almost
I love
as
that.
if
I
it was
love
couples
that.
therapy, and it is also really great to get people's feedback.
But also
on
what's cool is
things.
that our listenership is like, we have noticed largely like Gen Z people calling in their first love relationship. And so there's a little bit of feeling, I mean, you would love it because there's a little bit of feeling like, okay, the time I spent in this relationship is worth some, I do have some wisdom.
Right.
But also we get to make fun of them because we're comedians. Yesterday we had this cute little gay boy in the middle of the South going, he's like, I just got out of my first relationship, and the guy's saying that his medication has changed, and he's saying he might not be ready for this. And I go, we're like, oh, and he's like, I just want him so much. I wanted to be with him forever. And we were like, how old are you? He's like, 18. I go, how old's the guy? 18. It's like, okay, hon, you're going to be all right. Like you're at the beginning of a very long journey. So that's really fun. The podcast.
Yeah.
And then you've got your great book.
Oh, yeah, my book, The World Deserves My Children, got a lot of props on Heather's podcast.
Heck
and
yeah.
I'm on tour. Come see me. Look at NatashaLeggero.com.
And I just released my second book, Subculture Vulture, well-reviewed in the New York Times, national bestseller. But it's basically a world, a kind of look at all the worlds that I've lived in my life. AA, the 12 steps, deafness and sign language interpreting. My family's all deaf. The world of the Hasidic Jews. My dad was like a born-again Hasidic Jew that I would basically cosplay as Tevye the milkman for 6 weeks a year on my summer vacation from like my totally secular life in Oakland. The world of raves. I was a rave promoter, rave DJ, and ecstasy dealer, believe it or not, a clean and sober ecstasy dealer in the early 90s in San Francisco. Burning Man. I've been to Burning Man 25 times and used to work there for a decade and a half. And then the world that we all share, which is stand-up comedy. So I kind of do a history
I love it.
of each of those worlds.
I'm getting
really
your
cool.
book. I will love that.
And this weekend, I will be in Madison, Wisconsin at the Comedy Club on State. So come see me and MosheKasher.com for all my upcoming dates.
Thank you so much, you guys. I loved it. Come back again. Very fun. We could have talked for another 5 hours, but everyone has a life to do.
Oh, we're doing, by the way, one more thing, a live Endless Honeymoon podcast for the Netflix is a Joke Festival, May 4th.
Oh, great.
And
Do you
I've
ever
got my
do
own
this
show.
live?
Oh, yeah. I do it live. My shows now are a combo. So
Cool.
I will be doing like fresh stand-up by myself where I'm doing like traditional stand-up. And then I will do some hot topics.
Oh, you like sit down and shift to
Yeah,
the
then
juice.
I'll
that's fun.
have the photos and do
In
some
a
hot
live show?
in a live show.
That's
That's
yeah.
awesome.
amazing.
That's really
So
cool.
that's my new shows coming out, and I'll have some guests and things like that. So you get a little bit of both,
fun.
and it's not the whole thing. And if you bring someone that doesn't know who I am or whatever, the topics are general and fun, and they're just like something funny to be like, oh my God, or I save certain things just for those live shows. I don't put them on Patreon, nothing, because they are so juicy and they're not to be
That's great.
repeated. Like, yeah.
So do you take people's phones away?
No, but I just say, please don't. I
Right.
mean, they will be asked to leave, and but like, I don't know if someone's going to go and write about it I can't stop that. But like, no, you can't record or anything. But I'm going to Comedy Works, and at least they do it there.
Cool.
They take the
that's
phones
cool.
there. Thanks, you guys. Love you.
We love you, Heather.
Thank you.
Thanks. And remember, you guys, I'm going on the road and you want to come see me, you're going to go to heathermcdonald.net. All the current dates are there. We're adding more dates all the time. Before a show is available to buy tickets for, I announce it on Patreon, so you want to be a part of Patreon, so you get those best seats and you get those meet and greets first before they sell out. It is all there, all the dates coming to lots of cities. So check it out, heathermcdonald.net.